How's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having a great day. My name is Bungle. If you're unfamiliar with me, I like to do whiteboard presentations. And today we're going to be talking about the video game, Enlisted, the World War II free-to-play first-person shooter. Now you may be asking yourself, what is Enlisted? Well, Enlisted is a great alternative to video games out there such as Battlefield 5. If you want historical accuracy, authenticity, can I have that environment of World War II, the correct uniforms and equipment and everything? Enlisted is the way to go. Now you may be wondering, Bungle, what is this video series that we'll be talking about today? Well, this video series is called the Protection Analysis plus Opponents series. The series basically dives in talking about certain vehicles that we have reviewed or I've talked about, and we're going to go talk about them using an application called War Thunder. And you may be asking, well, what is War Thunder, Bungle? Well, War Thunder is pretty much, if you're unfamiliar with Enlisted or who owns Enlisted, it's by Gaijin Entertainment. War Thunder is owned by Gaijin Entertainment. So Enlisted pulls a lot of the mechanics, a lot of the vehicle models and damage models from War Thunder, since War Thunder does have tank game. It's a tank game, has some planes and ships as well, right? So it's going to take some of the models from the tanks and carry it over into Enlisted. So basically it's the same sort of mechanics and everything, and using the War Thunder system, we can kind of dive in here about a complete protection analysis as well as discussing opponents that you're going to be facing when you play Enlisted, and especially certain vehicles in Enlisted. Now how this is going to work is we're going to talk about the armor classification of the identified vehicle in this video. We're also going to talk about the gun capabilities of that vehicle, talk about the shell types as well, and then from there we're going to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of this vehicle, right? How are you going to go and use the strengths of the vehicle to do well in a match, and how are you going to go and be aware of the weaknesses of the vehicle during the match? So we're going to dive into War Thunder here in the next part. Hope you stick around, and I hope you all have fun with it. Take care.
So the vehicle we're going to talk about today is the M24 Chaffee. Now I already did a video on this, or a premium video guide review on this tank in Enlisted, right? And basically the bottom line up front is this is going to be a $40 premium. This is really good for grinding out the tech tree, but it's a light tank and everything like that. Now from that, if you're interested in actually checking out that review, I'll have it down below, kind of go into details about it, kind of how it plays in Enlisted and all that. So from there, let's go into the video. So the first thing we're going to talk about here today is we're going to talk about the armor classification. Now, kind of looking at this protection analysis factor right now, you can see based on the way the Chaffee is shaped with the armor and everything, is that it kind of has trolley armor, right? So if you're looking frontally, it's kind of sloped a little bit. So if we're going to go and do a protection analysis, and we're going to go look at, because you're playing against Germany, and let's start off with the Puma. So this Puma here, as you see right here, this Puma is basically the Enlisted version of the Rank 2 or whatever Puma that's running around causing havoc right now in the Battle of Normandy campaign. Now from there we can go look at the different shells, right? So typically Enlisted doesn't really go into detail about the shells and everything like that, which personally I think it should. But as of right now, as of the 2nd of June 2021, really the only two shells that you're going to get is the Panzer GR39, which is the APC, and then you have the HE shell as well, right? High explosive. Now, typically, if you're going to be facing a Puma, the Puma is usually going to see you probably frontally, right? So usually your engagements typically tend to be from the front. So the Puma's aiming at you, it's going to go pin you right there, hit you, and typically it's going to do some damage, right? But it's not going to do enough to take out your crew because it's based on that 50mm gun and also the 39, well, with the filler and all that, APC. It's not going to do that much of a damage. Now, I would say frontally shots, usually there. If they're aiming, let's say, at the gun port, and they shoot there, usually that's going to take out your gunner, even can damage your crew up there. If they try to pin you at the turret or shoot you up here as well, usually that's a recommended area. They'll usually take out your gunner. So typically, a frontal shot from a Puma is going to do some damage, and depending on where it lands, it could definitely take out most of your tank, if not all the crew. So it depends on where that shot's going to land. Now, also it depends on where that Puma's aiming, right? So, like I said, right now, the Puma can penetrate basically your entire front, except for some rough areas, like around here near the gun mantlet, right? If they aim at that gun mantlet, then it's just going to bounce off. So, let's say about a further ranged engagement with the Puma, right? Let's say they see you over here, and they shoot you right there, right? A shot like that's going to bounce off. So this is what I'm talking about the trolley armor a little bit. It can troll up to a certain extent. Now don't expect the Puma, like I said, this Chaffee to be, you know, a very tank you can take out there and just start dominating, right? It's a light tank, right? It's not going to have a lot of armor. Even side shots, if a Puma gets you in the side, you're kind of screwed anyway, just because look at this, you know, basically it has no armor or anything like that. So you can see it really takes out most of the gunner and the commander as well. So usually if you're the Puma or you're playing the Puma or whatever, basically what you want to do, if you can get the side shot on the Chaffee, usually aim right here. It's going to do a lot of damage and take out basically most, if not all, the crew. If you're aiming frontally, usually try to aim around this part, because based on that shot, it's going to go and take out a majority of the crew as well. So that's pretty much it for the Puma. The next tank that we see right now is a Panzer 3N. And a Panzer 3N, that's going to be, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the campaign levels, I believe it's a level 10. Now, with the level 10 version of this is that pretty much, let's look at the shell types. So as you can see, there's a various amount of shells they have. Right now, basically, as of today's date, they only have APBC or they're going to have HE. So another vehicle that you're going to face is the Panzer 3N, campaign level 10 vehicle. And the two shells it's going to come with is the APBC and with HE. Now, of course, if you're facing it, depending, because this is if you look at the Panzer 3N anyway, it's only got a short barrel of 75, so if it's going to be aiming at this right here, it's going to depend. And that's what I'm saying, it's going to bounce some shots, or sometimes it will penetrate and knock out the whole crew. As you can see, penetration is low just because of the velocity of the cannon, right? The Puma's got a longer barrel, 50mm, so it's going to go through. And, you know, sometimes your shots will land, and then if you aim, like, let's say right there, it's not. Kind of like the Puma, your sweet spot's probably going to be over there to aim and, like, kind of do damage. Now, going on with it, like I said, if it's, you know, aiming at the side, trying to hit it, of course, it's not going to do anything. It's going to bounce off. Same way over here, if the Panzer 3 is aiming at you, it's going to bounce off. So you can see the armor of it's kind of trolly a little bit. Now, we're looking at side shots like always. You want to go and aim usually around here to take the whole entire crew out. So, as we see before, kind of like the Puma, the Chaffee does not have that decent of an armor. The next is the Panzer 3M, the premium version, right? I already did a review on that tank as well. Definitely check it out. I'll have it down below listed so you can always check that out. Basically, same thing, right? There's going to be a longer barreled 50mm cannon. So, this is kind of like the Pumas, where if you aim right there, you can basically take out a good majority of the crew. Now, it can be trolly. As you can see, sometimes penetration is not possible, like if you aim right there, but typically, like I said, if you're facing the Chaffee frontally, the sweet spot's going to be right there. As you notice, if you can kind of hit down below, you can even aim down below, which I wouldn't really aim at the lower glacis anyway, just because it's not going to do anything. Your sweet spot's going to be right there. And like I said, the armor is going to be trolly, depending on, and I said the damage is going to be trolly too, based on where the shell lands. But if you're aiming at the side, you know, it depends on where you're aiming to, but typically if you're facing it frontally, you want to hit it there. Now on the side shot, same thing as before. If you aim roughly around in that spot, you're going to be able to take out most, if not all, the crew, especially the critical components. Alright, so the Panzer 4J. Alright, Panzer 4J is going to be another one the Chaffee's going to face. This is the higher ranking Panzer 4 that the Germans get, but basically it's just going to dominate. Like, anywhere the shell's going to go, it's going to take out the whole crew. Basically, Panzer 4Js, you want to try to avoid them as much as possible, because of course they're going to go and just destroy your entire crew and your tank, and really there's not much you can do against it. Same thing applies with the Panzer 4H, just a longer, same variant, just has side skirts. With the shell types, the Panzer GR 39, same thing, it's just going to go and devastate your crew. Like I said, the Chaffee is a light tank, it's not a heavy tank, so keep that in mind when playing the Chaffee. It's definitely not going to be the one going out there brawling with every single tank and doing great. Alright, now talking about the Chaffee, we're going to talk about the gun types and everything that the Chaffee gets. So, basically right now, as you can look, even at the stat card here, same thing, like I said, Enlisted takes a lot of the mechanics and stuff from War Thunder and puts it in this game because it's parented by Gaijin, so why not reinvent the wheel? They're just going to carry a lot of stuff over. So it's a 75mm gun, M6 cannon, alright? So your modifications on it are really the two shells you're going to get in the game is the M72 shot, which is your AP round, followed by the M48. I don't see the APBC at all. It does not get this round for whatever reason in the game, because you'll see later when I demonstrate it against some tanks, such as the Panzer IIIM, that you're going to be hitting that tank and not doing a lot of damage. And it's really because it doesn't have a bigger shell or a good shell or anything like that. Now we're going to go and talk about the shell. Alright, we're going to talk about the tanks that the Chaffee is going to face against with its gun. Starting off is my favorite tank, the Puma. As you can see, this is the same variant that's in Enlisted right now. So we do the protection analysis, right? We're going to choose our favorite Chaffee. Alright, so as I said, the two shells you're going to get is the M72 shot, and then you're going to get your high explosive. Now, we're going to do high explosive first, because I'm telling you right now, depending on where you land, if you shoot, let's say, at the tires here, how it should be modeled correctly is that it takes out the whole crew. Now, for whatever reason, in this model here, is that it's not going to do anything, but if you play in Enlisted, if you hit the Puma with the tire, it's going to go and devastate the entire crew, and I definitely have clips of that happening, so I'll show that below as well. Even though War Thunder may not model it, it actually does happen. Now you can also hit the Puma with your M72 shot round, of course. It's going to do some damage to the crew, but typically I would just go with HE. If you see a Puma driving around, use HE, aim for the wheels as much as possible. Try to hit them in the wheels, because when you hit the wheels, it's going to explode and take out the whole crew. So that's my recommendation when you're facing. So, alright, you're not going to sling HE at all at the Panzer III or any Panzer IIIs onward, because it's not going to do anything. You want to fire, so your M72 shot, right? So this is going to be trolly, right? If you're going to aim at the lower glacis even, like if you're facing it frontally right there, it's going to only take out the transmission. It's not going to do anything. Typically you want to aim for the gun port if you see it, because the gun port's going to go and take out usually the gunner and the driver as well. Even if you're trying to aim here, it's going to be kind of trolly. Like I said, your best bets frontally when you're facing the Panzer III is either aiming in this area over here, especially aiming at that, and then you can also aim at the turn as well to kind of take out the gunners. So it's kind of what you want to do. Now you see here, it's not really going to do that much damage when it comes to the crew, versus, you know, taking out one gunner here and there. Typically, as we've seen demonstrated earlier, if you go and aim around this ballpark and hit it, it's usually going to go and take out at least 2 crew members. Enough to take out the driver and the gunner, and this is where the tactics come in. So if you take out your driver and the gunner, the Chaffee's fast enough that you can spin around to the side and get like a side shot into it. And then from there, you can start like, okay, you can take out these people, start crew sniping, and then take out these as well. Now, the problem with Enlisted sometimes, the crew, if you take out a crew at some point, let's say if I'm shooting here, and I already took out the gunner on top here, and I take this guy out, right? If the crew is moving up here to the gun port, for whatever reason sometimes, if your opponent knows what they're doing, they can kind of keep playing the game by changing crew positions and stuff. So it gets really frustrating, sometimes killing Panzer IIIs, because your opponents do that. So I would recommend incapacitating them as much as you can, and then when you're done, just drive off and get away from them, because if they're not dying or they don't get out of the vehicle and they're just playing that game, like, I would just avoid it. It's a waste of time, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to kill you if you just stick around them long enough. Now, next, talking about the Panzer IIIM. This is a premium version that I already was talking about, that's out in the game right now. And basically, it's kind of like works the same way as the Panzer IIIN. It's just a little more armored from what we can tell here, right? So typically, if you're using the Chaffee, aim at the gun port if you can. Aim in the middle, like right here as well. If you notice right now, as we're demonstrating through the kill cams and everything, your shell isn't going to do that much damage. I wish they give the Chaffee, let's look here if we actually use the M61 shot. I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a big difference based on that shell. What do you know? It takes out, if not all, the crew, right? So the problem is the M72 shot, just an AP round, doesn't have a lot of like HE filler. If you notice kind of how it works with these shells, when they explode or detonate inside the vehicle, you have fragmentation that goes around. And the less HE filler that's in there, the less damage it's going to do. So this is what I was talking about. The issue is when you start taking out certain crew members and your opponent, if they know what they're doing, starts playing games with like switching crew positions and stuff, you're going to get killed eventually, and it gets very frustrating. You're wasting a lot of time on the tank. So hopefully they add the shell. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say they're not. Alright, next is the big ones, right? The Panzer IVs. So Panzer IVJ, that's one you're going to see out there as well. basically using the Chaffee. Wish it would stop doing that. Using the Chaffee, right? So we're going to use our shot basically frontally. You can see it's going to be kind of difficult to penetrate, right? This is going to be a little more armored than we unfortunately would like. Now, your best bet if you're going to try to aim at it frontally is the gun port, so you can at least do some damage up there. You can also pin up here at the gun turret, so you can at least take out a gunner or something like that. But like I said, your best bet is if you're engaging them frontally, if you get the first shot off on them, even aiming right here, that's going to be a tricky shot to make as well, because you're really going to take the transmission out and your shell's not going to do that much damage. Either aim at the gun port or aim up here at the 2 gun matlet points. That's your best bet to at least damage or knock something out. Then you can drive to the side and start sniping them out too as well, and even hit their shell, hopefully. But yeah, right now the Chaffee's suffering, as you can tell, because it doesn't get the, like, even if we had the armored, what you call it, HE filler here, like, if we shoot right in there, you can tell we can already do a lot of damage. I mean, even if we drove to the side and fired into the Panzer IV-J, what do you know? You do a lot of damage. So, unfortunately, that's an issue. I don't know if it's a bug report that we can file or submit to Enlisted to have it checked out, but that's definitely a big issue. I wish you could do something with the shell types, because it's kind of important, as you can tell here. Next, we're going to go on, same thing. Alright, so this is basically an up-armored version of the, Panzer IV. So your best bet, like I said, is a gun port. If you can, pin up here to these 2 areas, and then drive around and hit it in the side. That's your best tactics. That's my recommendations for going forward and doing this. Other than that, like I said, the Chaffee right now, I would say it's suffering just from not getting the M61 shot. If it got the M61 shot, then you can tell right away what a major difference that round does if you're able to land a penetration. I mean, let's look at the penetration values on this. Like, usually your ranges are going to be 100 to 500, sometimes even 10 if you're really close. But 101 versus the shot, the M72, which has a lower round of penetration. So you're already getting like a gimped shell, right? So if Gaijin or Enlisted or whatever, let's just choose the right round, the Chaffee definitely would be a lot stronger right now than what it is. Using the M72 shot, it has a lower penetration. It doesn't do that much damage with HE filler, and it's kind of important, you know, with guns and everything in Enlisted, is that you'll notice with gun calibers and all that, that the higher the round is, the more damage and stuff it will do. Same thing with, well, not higher the round. What I mean by, what you'll see with Enlisted is that usually if it has, let's say, HE filler or damaging effect, like this one, the M61 shot, it'll penetrate the tank, and once it's inside the tank, it will explode, causing a massive explosion. This also can be best demonstrated also with, let's say, the T-34-85. For example, look at the T-34-85 DT. Now that tank is right now in the Battle of Berlin. Definitely was always talking about how this tank is just ridiculous and steamrolling everyone. And you'll see why is with the shell types that it gets, right? So if we look at its shell types, you can see already armor, piercing, high explosive. So what this thing does, basically, that was around does, is it penetrates the tank and explodes. I mean, armor, piercing, high explosive, ballistic cap. There's also another version that the Soviets get, and that thing devastates Panzer IVs because it goes inside, it penetrates the tank, and then it explodes. And it takes out all the crew, knocks out mechanics, vehicles, and everything. So as you see right now, the Chaffee's gimped, and I don't know as a community if we need to go and file a bug report or what, or maybe Enlisted can go and give us some shell types, but definitely if the Chaffee got the M61 shot, then this tank could do a lot better than what it's doing right now. And that's the one major con I'm having with playing this tank. It's great against infantry with the 75mm gun and the coaxial machine gun on top, but the shell type is making it struggle from Panzer III's higher. Pumas you can take out with HE, that's easy. But the shell type, if we get the M61 shot, then I think this tank will be definitely a good keeper going forward. The M71 just ain't cutting it right now. If you reach this point in the video, appreciate you all sticking by. If you want more kind of content or features like this, I'm kind of my pilot program right now doing this video. Let me know, comment down below. I'll definitely do one for the Panzer IIIM if you all want to see that, going on with the other various tanks I've reviewed in the game. If If you all like this kind of content, this series, let me know and I'll keep cranking these out. Other than that, if you're new to the channel, this is your first time stopping by, I hope today is the day that I earn your subscription. Having you subscribe, comment down below, gives me that feedback I need to kind of edit my videos, tweak my content and everything like that, and also y'all give me suggestions for future content. I really kind of like having those ideas, bouncing off of them, and engaging with you in the community. I've also worked on the Discord server. I'll have it in the description down below as well. Trying to work on that and build it. Gotta give credit to Noah008 for giving that shout out on working on that, so thanks for that. Also shout out to my viewers for making this video happen. I appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great day. Take care.